At the heart of Surabaya stands a mansion no one dares to enter, not because of locked gates or warning signs, but because of what people claim still lives inside. For decades, the Darmo House has remained frozen in time, abandoned yet untouched, as if its former residents simply vanished overnight. Neighbors say lights sometimes flicker behind broken windows long after midnight. Others swear they hear footsteps echoing through empty halls, followed by the faint laughter of children who were never seen leaving. Some believe the house is cursed. Others believe something far worse, that the tragedy inside never truly ended. In one of Surabaya's busiest districts lies a building that feels completely disconnected from the modern world. Hidden behind overgrown trees and rusted iron fences stands what locals call Darmo House, an abandoned mansion whose silence carries decades of fear, rumor, and unanswered questions. Unlike ordinary abandoned homes, Darmo House does not decay naturally. Its structure still stands strong, its walls stubborn against time, as if preserving memories that refuse to fade. Taxi drivers slow down when passing it. Residents avoid walking near it after sunset. Even construction workers nearby reportedly refuse night shifts facing the mansion. The story of Darmo House is believed to begin in the early 1990s when a wealthy family moved into the grand residence. They were known to be private, rarely interacting with neighbors. The family consisted of parents and several children, living quietly behind tall gates that were almost always closed. At first, nothing seemed unusual, but slowly, strange details began to emerge. Neighbors noticed deliveries arriving late at night, large wooden crates carried inside by unfamiliar men. Curtains remained shut at all hours, even during bright afternoons. The children were rarely seen playing outside, and when they were, witnesses described them as unusually silent, watching strangers with unsettling expressions. Then came the rumors. Some locals claimed the family was involved in mystical practices. Others whispered about rituals conducted inside the house. Though no proof ever surfaced, stories spread quickly, fueled by unease rather than evidence. One night, everything changed. Residents reported hearing screams coming from inside the mansion, not a brief argument or accident, but prolonged cries filled with panic. Dogs barked uncontrollably across the neighborhood. Lights flickered on and off inside the house until suddenly, everything went dark. The next morning, the gates were closed as usual, but no one ever saw the family again. Days turned into weeks. Newspapers never reported a disappearance. Authorities reportedly visited but found nothing conclusive. No signs of struggle, no official explanation. The house simply became empty, as though its occupants had vanished into thin air. Soon after, strange occurrences began. Security guards assigned to nearby buildings claimed they saw shadows moving behind second-floor windows. A food vendor passing early each morning said he smelled incense mixed with something foul, drifting from the property despite no one living there. One of the most famous accounts came from a group of teenagers who dared each other to enter the house late at night. According to the only boy willing to speak afterward, they barely stepped inside before hearing footsteps rushing upstairs. At first they thought it was another trespasser. Then they heard multiple footsteps, moving in different directions. Doors slammed without wind. One girl reportedly fainted after seeing what she described as a woman standing at the end of the hallway, her face hidden by long hair. Moments later, the group ran out screaming, refusing to return. Not long after that incident, locals claimed the atmosphere around Darmo House grew heavier. Plants near the fence withered unexpectedly. Animals avoided the area. Even during daylight, the mansion seemed darker than its surroundings, its windows reflecting almost no light. Urban legends multiplied. Some believed the family performed forbidden rituals that went wrong. Others said the house was built on cursed land long before the mansion existed. A few claimed the spirits inside were not the family at all, but something older that had merely found new victims. Yet despite countless stories, no one has ever confirmed what truly happened inside Darmo House. And perhaps the most disturbing detail is this. Every few years, someone claims to see lights turning on inside the empty mansion, glowing softly for several minutes before disappearing again, as if someone or something still walks its halls. To this day, Darmo House remains abandoned, untouched, waiting, and those who live nearby share one unspoken rule. Never look too long at the windows after midnight, because sometimes, they say, something inside might look back. As years passed, Darmo House transformed from an abandoned building into something far more disturbing. A place people avoided not just out of fear, but out of instinct. The longer the mansion stood empty, the stronger the stories surrounding it became. But the most terrifying accounts did not come from rumors. They came from people who tried to prove the legends wrong. In the early 2000s, a local security company reportedly assigned a night guard to patrol several properties along the Darmo area, including the street facing the mansion. The guard, a middle-aged man named Hadi, was known for being practical and deeply skeptical of ghost stories. On his first nights, nothing unusual happened, until exactly 2:13 a.m. Hadi later told co-workers that he noticed a faint light glowing from the second floor of Darmo House. Assuming squatters had broken in, he approached the gate with a flashlight. The air felt strangely cold, despite Surabaya's humid night. As he shone his light through the bars, he saw movement behind a curtain. Someone was inside. He called out, announcing himself, expecting panic or footsteps running away. Instead, the curtain slowly moved aside, not quickly, not fearfully, but deliberately. A figure stood behind the window, small, motionless, a child. Hadi claimed the figure stared directly at him without blinking. Its face looked pale, almost grey under the dim light. Thinking a lost child had somehow entered the property, he unlocked the gate and stepped into the yard. The moment he crossed the threshold, the light upstairs went out. Total darkness swallowed the house. Then came the sound. Footsteps above him. Not one pair, but many. Running, dragging, stopping all at once. Hadi froze. The silence that followed felt heavier than noise itself. He slowly turned his flashlight toward the front door, which he swore had been closed moments earlier. Now it was slightly open. From inside came a faint whisper. Layered voices speaking at once, too soft to understand yet impossible to ignore. Fear finally overcame logic. Hadi backed away and left the property immediately. The next morning, he refused to continue the assignment and reportedly resigned within the week. According to co-workers, he never spoke about the incident again. After that, stories intensified. Drivers passing late at night described seeing silhouettes walking along the balcony. Residents claimed to hear gamelan-like sounds drifting through the air despite no nearby celebrations. Some reported the smell of burning incense mixed with decay, appearing suddenly, then vanishing seconds later. But the most chilling event happened when a small group of urban explorers attempted to document the house for an online video. Equipped with cameras and flashlights, they entered shortly before midnight. Their footage, later circulated briefly online before disappearing, allegedly showed interiors coated in dust, yet strangely undisturbed. Furniture remained arranged neatly, as though waiting for its owners to return. Upstairs, one cameraman noticed something unusual. Family photographs still hanging on the wall, but every face had been scratched out. Not damaged by time, intentionally erased. As they continued recording, their audio captured faint knocking sounds coming from behind a locked bedroom door. Assuming it was structural noise, they approached carefully. The knocking stopped. A long pause followed. Then 3 slow knocks answered from the other side. The door suddenly creaked open by itself. Inside the room, nothing moved, except a curtain swaying despite sealed windows. One explorer whispered that he felt someone standing directly behind him. Seconds later, the camera fell to the floor. The footage ended in chaos, heavy breathing, screaming, and the sound of footsteps chasing them down the staircase. None of them returned. According to one participant interviewed later, the group experienced nightmares for weeks. He claimed they all dreamed of the same thing: a family sitting silently at a dining table, staring at empty chairs as if waiting for guests, waiting for replacements. Over time, a darker theory emerged among locals. Some believed the tragedy inside Darmo House was never officially recorded because nothing criminal could be proven. Others claimed the family had attempted a spiritual ritual meant to bring prosperity or protection, a ritual requiring an offering. Something went terribly wrong. Instead of summoning protection, they may have invited something that refused to leave, and perhaps the family never escaped at all. The most unsettling details surfaced years later when an elderly resident revealed a story rarely shared outside the neighborhood. Long before the mansion was built, the land was rumored to have been the site of an old burial ground removed during rapid urban development. Construction workers allegedly reported accidents, sudden illnesses, and unexplained fear during the building process. But the project continued anyway. The house was completed, the family moved in, and soon after, they disappeared. Today, Darmo House still stands in silence, surrounded by traffic, modern buildings, and everyday life moving forward. Yet the mansion itself feels untouched by time, as if trapped between moments. Occasionally, passers-by still claim to see lights flicker upstairs around the same hour, 2:13 a.m. Some say it is electricity reconnecting. Others believe it marks the moment the house awakens. Because according to those who live nearby, Darmo House is not empty. It is occupied by echoes, repeating the last night over and over again. And if the stories are true, the house does not simply haunt visitors, it watches, it waits. And once you step inside, you may become part of the story it never lets end.